Second item on the agenda is the roll call. I know that Kathy Droley and Jane Woodall both informed me they would be unable to make today's meeting. So I see that we've got Dan, Megan, McCoy, and Debbie, and I have not heard from Dr. Rice, so he may or may not appear, but we do have enough for a quorum. Item number 3 on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I can take those.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor for the approval? Aye.
Aye.
Minutes approved. I'm sorry, agenda approved. Item number 4, approval of minutes. These would be the minutes from the January 7th, 2019 meeting. I was not in that meeting. I think I was out of town.
Motion to approve.
All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Approved. Let's make a note here. Section 5 is old business. 5.1, the Bowie Park Playground build project, just some updates on the events and the RFP review that we're going through now. We met a couple of weeks ago, I don't remember the exact date, and had quite a few people, a full table here to go through constructing and drafting. And that meeting was to kind of propose ideas and content that would need to go into the RFP. The RFP is a document that will go out to the vendors that have expressed interest in participating in the project so that they can come back with an initial plan based upon the requirements we've laid out in the RFP. The goal in that is once we get those proposals back that should have the depictions and diagrams and layout of the playground, the equipment, and the initial cost construction estimates, we'll select one or maybe more than one to actually dig in deeper to refine that proposal and that drawing, adjusting for things that maybe come to our eye once we see that plan in front of us, as well as any other adjustments we might want to make from a cost perspective. The goal being that after that, as we've gone through that process with that key vendor, that we would wrap that proposal up, bring it back to this board for approval, and if this board approves, allow it to go to the BOC so that they could review that proposal and approve. Timelines, that we've got an initial draft that's already been circulated back based on that meeting, and it's gotten some commentary back from the different members of that particular group on what they'd like to see changed or made more clear in that proposal. John White, I talked with him today. He's working on incorporating those changes in to a draft version 02. We will circulate that, and I imagine we'll have one more round of finishing touches to apply to that, and we'd be ready to send it out. We talked about having a 30-day window for the different vendors to respond initially. So if we were able to get this out the door February 15th-ish, then we could expect to see those responses by mid-March and maybe have our review meeting of that on the parks or the playground design committee review the last third or fourth week of March. At that point, hopefully to select either come back with some additional questions to vendors and or select one that we want to work with and engage and start that engagement process. Any questions related to that?
So when do you think it might go to the board?
Well, if we got the responses back in March, I'm thinking there might be another month of working back and forth with that vendor to kind of really draft out the cost structure and the different construction options, the community build math, getting that made sure that's clearly understood, and any refinements in those drawings, as well as maybe even talk with a
Discussion amongst ourselves
landscape
and-
architect we might be able to bring in and review that plan.
Right.
So
Mid-April?
mid-April in a perfect world.
Sounds reasonable.
Other questions or comments on that?
Do you want to come and make a report to the board Thursday night, or do you want me to do it?
If you could do it, it would be probably easier just because I'm still getting over my funk.
I can do it.
The next section is 5.2. This is still under old business. The Tree City application renewal was approved. I mentioned it before the last meeting, but I've gone on their website and found that the approvals they've gone through the different people that need to review that application. They have approved it. I sent the city manager an email to ask him if he had received anything formally from them from the city, and I haven't heard back yet. I think the practice is they'll send some kind of email to him that says, congratulations, you're back in it, and that'll be the basis that we could maybe do another proclamation, which we need to do in alignment with the Arbor Day celebration that would be coming up. It's also on the agenda.
Are our signs up yet?
Not that I'm aware of.
Where do those signs go?
I think we're going to leave it up to the city to decide, but it'd be on my guess would be on the borders of the city. So we've got two big metal signs that they sent us, so they could be on one or the other major entrance.
We have 2 or 3?
Thought it was 2.
Okay. Where are they? Do you know?
They're here in the city possession, but I don't know where. You know where those are, Keith? Yeah. Still. So they have been mounted and they're out there. Excellent. So one is at the History Village,
And
the fire department outbuilding on 96. Very good.
96 and I-40. I haven't even noticed them.
I haven't been out there lately, but I guess. Any other comments or questions on Tree City? Next section is 6, new business, elect a vice chair. It became apparent when I was out last meeting that we didn't have a vice chair. John White served in that capacity before he moved into Franklin. So that's left that particular spot open here. So what I would endeavor to do is see if anybody's interested in serving in that role. Basically, they kind of step in whenever the chair's not available for a meeting and run the meeting, kind of similar, go through the agenda. Is there any interest? Particularly, I guess, other than Debbie, because she's already got hers, so it's a limited pool to dip from. And it's really based on your interest and time. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but there is time as you get closer to meetings to make sure that the agenda's ready.
I can do that.
You would volunteer? Do you have
I'd be interested, but I'd probably recommend Megan first, just because I know with my own, with the kids and stuff, is I can be a little nuts on schedule too. But I'd be happy to help as needed.
Okay.
But if Megan were interested, I would support that fully.
Okay. Any other comments on that then?
You're not out very often, right?
No, I'm not usually, but my work schedule, I'm going to be gone like this month, February. I've gone from 14th to the 28th in Anchorage, and then I've got more travel in March and April, so it's getting worse and worse and worse for me as far as work obligations. So then I think the process would be I could nominate Megan, and then we would look to see if there's a second.
Second.
So a first and second, and with that, then I think we can just, the motion to appoint Megan as the vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
So done. Thank you. The next item on the list is 6.2, Arbor Day celebration planning. I actually have the Arbor Day celebration that we've followed in the past for that would be that Saturday in April. In this case, this year it would be Saturday, April the 25th, which is coincides with the National Arbor Day. Well, National Arbor Day is the last Friday in April, and we've just moved it to the Saturday right after that. So that's the day and the mark in the sand. Typically what would happen is we start to plan the activities that would be presented in that day. So sometimes there's a kids activity, or there's some plant giveaways, or there's some plant identification, or a scavenger hunt type deal where you identify different plant types. So that's the exercise that needs to occur here. However, Marie is usually a key participant in helping to plan that, and Jane as well.
Marie is the Friends representative.
You know, I would probably model it off of what we've done every year, with just some maybe slight changes in the types of reading material and a plant giveaway. So maybe one of the things we could do is reach out.
You want to give away plants or trees?
Trees, I think, if we have them.
Um,
This is Arbor Day. One year we had planting acorns where the kids could plant an acorn, and
Okay. I have to ponder. Where have we gotten trees before?
from Mike,
Also gotten them from the,
from the state arborist.
I don't remember the organization, but there's somebody that does it at the lawn and garden show. You could probably work with them. That might be the same people you are.
Is it Grow Wild? Do you remember?
No, it wasn't Grow Wild.
I think it's, the state usually will give away trees.
Yeah.
And I've got the state contact, the arborist that came last year, and he brought some trees out last year. So I'm guessing he could, so I'll reach out to him. I'll make that as an action item for me.
And maybe we could also see if there are any trees that need to be planted at Bowie. That would
Need
be
to be what, sorry?
planted.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Who would be our contact for that? Would that be Keith?
Or Micah.
Them both. I'll send them an email with that inquiry.
I would include city manager just in case. Or any work that needs to be done at the park, since it's, basically our urban forest.
Yes.
And since it would be protecting the trees, I would think that would be. And that might be the simplest thing to do, is arrange a work day for Arbor Day.
A version of weed wrangle.
Yes.
Pay it 55 times.
Yes, because we also, as part of the qualifier, need to represent a certain amount of financial contributions compared to our city population. So if those hours towards that would
Volunteer
count
hours
towards
will
that.
count. And I think at this point in time, a volunteer hour is close to $26.
I like it. So I'll send the email to the arborist. I'll send the email to the city folks, asking them tree planting in particular, or any general type park maintenance that would be helpful that they could use volunteers for.
That directly impacts
Trees.
trees.
And Marie on the Friends. Reach out to her for ideas. Any other comments, thoughts on that particular bullet at this point?
Have we ever considered making Bowie an arboretum?
I haven't. I'm not aware of it. All I can say is I'm not aware.
I could look into the requirements. I know one of the requirements is having 40 different species of trees. They're probably pretty close to that. But, like, that would be a fun announcement to make at an Arbor Day. So I can do the research on that.
Yes, I'm not sure what that entails or what if, certainly the recognition, but are there other requirements or other? And that takes us to item number 7, citizens' comments. We have no citizens' comments today, it appears.
We have no citizens.
The next, any other comments, I guess, from anybody at the table before I go into the closing? The next City Fairview Parks and Landscaping Board meeting date is Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2020, 7 p.m. here at City Hall. Excuse me, and with that, we go to item number 8, which is adjournment. Meeting adjourned. Thank you. All right. Yeah, so we'll get the next day and reroute it, just keep refining.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I might